work is there a point where you reach you're like okay now I know आर्टिस्ट का सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है आर्टिस्ट पैसा नहीं कमाता इंडिया में ठीक है एंड इफ इट्स सेंसिटिव डोंट टॉक अबाउट इट वी कैन जस्ट ओके
वी विल टॉक अबाउट इट
राइट सो आर्टिस्ट पैसा नहीं कमाता एंड इट्स द हार्डेस्ट लाइफस्टाइल क्योंकि तुम कैसे बाबू बोलते हो माँ बाप को मैं म्यूजिक बनाएगा पूरा जिंदगी like that is a kill right at what point did you realize oh fuck now I don't have to I know कुछ भी होगा तो दो रोटी घर पे आएगा was there a moment and what led to that moment for both of you one is music because it's harder and director आज को to get into anything mainstream is so incredibly hard because what you're 0.001% of the people how many directors गिन चुन के you don't realize it because you're around directors all the time that's another thing I've realized you'll be like hey kya hi kiya hai Netflix you are a part of a population of 1 billion people you are at the center of influencing culture and both of you equally have on your own levels but as I've realized once you come to Bombay you are around so many people you're amazing people have stopped to people have forgotten to tell you भाई तुम क्या मस्त है do you feel कि तुम मस्त है number 1 number 2 when did you figure out कि भाई अभी मैं खाना खा सकता है इससे
Number 0 तो will you be my therapist? I think you really make me feel good, dude. I should call you once and speak 2 minutes every day because it makes me feel good. Thank you.
I legit mean that, man. I legit mean that. Like bro.
No, but yeah. So to answer your question, Toby, from my point of view, I'd say that for point 1, that when did you realize you made it? I've still not felt it. Like, you know, अभी भी मेरे को next महीने का रेंट का सोचना पड़ता है, ठीक है. And I think बॉम्बे में रहेगा तो हमेशा ही सोचना पड़ेगा, which is also a great thing because it keeps you on your toes. कि you know that life work is uncertain. You're only as good as your last job. So every job you want to give it your all. Also not from just monetary, but also from an art point of view. Is you know that you don't want to have something associated and a director or any artist that do some project. You know, your name is on it. You can't, if it's out there, then you have to own it. You can't be like ki side se private gig, शादी में नाच से आ गया, you know, like not accounted for. But this is work. Like it's going to be there when I am not going to be there. ऐसा पोता देगा बोले क्या fuck all काम करता था मेरा साथ. You know, don't want to be in that category. So category as in nobody wants to consciously do it also. But it's just that I think that thrill, that uncertainty, which is kind of makes up for that lost money also a little bit, or you know.
But do you ever feel like you'll have to compromise for the paycheck? I mean, of course
I
we
do it also. I mean, I don't say no to any kind of work because any kind of work, and I say it's like, you know, if it's advertising, if it's like, you know, any work that you do, you have to select the job and then adapt it to your own style so that you can endorse it as an individual. I feel that's the point. So then the point eventually becomes your paycheck versus your quality. So if we are able to achieve a good quality work, then everything is great work. And you are also able to adapt to a lifestyle that you would always want.
What about you? वो पॉइंट आया क्या जिंदगी में बट लाइक हाँ ठीक है खाना पीना हो रहा है टेंशन नहीं है एंड यू हैव अ किड डू यू हैव अ किड हाँ तो तेरा तो ठीक है ब्रो तू रास्ते पे रह लेगा कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है भाई बच्चा है बच्चा प्रेशर लाइक माँ की लाइक लाइक यू नो व्हाट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट
I know what you're talking about completely but it is I don't know if that moment ever came because yeah as he said Bandra is expensive and Bombay is expensive and you still have to like worry about your rent you know it's not like you know I've got like millions stashed away I don't but it's at a point of time yeah like I've been doing this for a while now so you know at a point of time I figured that okay I can do this and this whole you know if you lose an arm
Mike
if you lose an arm you'll learn to live with it so similarly when you lose your youth and you know that you know you have to now fend for yourself and you have to make enough money and it's a hustle and you know initially I was making like you know music for AVs back in like you know 2005 2006 that time so you know and the occasional ad the ad was like oh, wow it's what you feel what I feel like when I get a really good film now you know that's what I would feel if I would get any ad back in the day so you know it was a hard thing and otherwise the main life was playing live music so at no point did I think that I've made it? It's done.
No. When I say made it, I mean like I'll give you an example. Like धंधे में अपना ये होता है कि एक बैरियर, एक थ्रेशोल्ड रहता है. मार्केट एंटर हो गया कि तुम्हारा धंधा ठप नहीं होगा कल.
हाँ, बट वो फीलिंग मेरे को आज भी नहीं है कि मेरा धंधा ठप नहीं होगा. अपन को खटना पड़ेगा ब्रो. या वो फीलिंग इज आई वुड से दैट इज द बिगिनिंग ऑफ complacency, and that's where and also it's not a nice feeling.
But the
because it's a boring feeling. Like if you feel that okay, I'm sorted, work will come and I'll be able to do it, and so idea is to never be paranoid. Even when things are getting fucked, if you've got a sense of humor, then you're not paranoid. You just know that okay, there are 20 things in front of me which need to be done. Let's do them, and then we'll renegotiate life at the end of those 20 things, and another 20 or another 40 things appear. You know. So I've lived my life like that. So I don't know how I've got here, but I'm here.
No, but there's a difference with, say, having a family and then not having a family.
No, true. I mean, it's
Like-
true. Once Luca happened, then
Luca likes anime, right?
Luca, yeah. I mean, he's a fan of Hayao Miyazaki. And we've seen all his movies. We watched them together. But he's once he happened, then the work that I was doing, the craftsmanship, it just became a little more serious. I suddenly realized that there's one more level that I've suddenly got access to, like a video game. Like I've killed the monster of being a couple without a baby.
It's not fear.
It's not fear. It empowers you because you have fear, and God gives you 9 months to overcome that fear. And for 9 months, it becomes a reality in the to-be parents' head that okay, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be fucking expensive. There's going to be less time.
And expensive and Bombay expensive. There's a big difference between India
so
expensive and
we
Bombay
did the first
expensive.
year in Calcutta, and then like complete maniacs, suicide bombers. We came to Bombay with a 1-year-old child, and yeah. But I think we managed to make it work, and till now, and it's great.
Bro, it's incredible, bro. But I'll tell you what I love. Like both of you look so calm, but I think it's bro ऐसा है कि अपने धंधे में ना कभी स्ट्रेस जिंदगी में चेहरे पे नहीं आता. वी हैव बीन ट्रेन्ड. अपना क्या है, तुम कुछ पब्लिक में कभी नहीं आएगा. एंड सेकंड प्रॉब्लम इज बीइंग मैन, वी हैव नेवर लर्न टू कम्युनिकेट. लेट्स बी फेयर. लाइक तुम जितना भी लाइक आई नो यू विल सिट हियर टेक केयर, यू हैव 10 शागिर्द, तुम्हारे शागिर्द होंगे. आई एम अज्यूमिंग ही इज वन ऑफ दोज पीपल हु हैज लाइक शागिर्द्स. डू यू नो व्हाट शागिर्द्स आर? Students. No?
I don't teach.
No, like in the sense where a lot of people come to you for advice.
Like a lot of people do call, and a lot of people are there, but like I mean they aren't like actively there because I don't encourage that too much.
No, but okay.
Not a posse, like if you're asking.
No,
like,
not a posse. Like for example,
Like if there's anyone who's coming, that person's a friend.
okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I don't like to. I do that feeling of hierarchy inside a room.
Doesn't make
I'm
sense.
not fond of.
You're not fond of.
Yeah, it's a vibe kill. So because of that reason, like I have a lot of people who are friends with me, man. And at the end of the day, I'm not trying to say that I help them, because even if I do, it must be through conversation or unconsciously or whatever. Fine.
Do you have an outlet?
For
Coming to the
my
reason why I'm
biology,
asking
my
outlet.
psychology.
Like no, psychologically speaking, I think a lot of especially art is up here. Like your outlet is your music. For you might be your art in different forms, and I think most of what you put out there is basically a form of how true can you be to your music. Like this, I have a friend who's a musician. The best music he's ever written is when he's actually saying something he really wants to say, not writing it for the fuck's sake of writing it.
Of course.
Right? Like when he genuinely fucking means, and I think that is true to almost all forms of art. You cannot fake art. Like public pakad leta hai wo. Like it gets it. Do you know what I mean? Can you fake it? Can you fake?
No,
do you know what I'm saying?
So yeah, obviously, this is the battle of the divide, right? The line which divides there from here, and like one of the zones would be pure art for the sake of art, for the sake of expression, and the other zone would be for the sake of commerce and for the sake of subsistence, right? Then there's a line that divides that. Okay. Now, what I do, I have like very, very peacefully managed to find my peace within the system. I get narratives, and narratives put up human situations. And I have lived a very full life, and I have gone through every kind of situation that I can ever think of. I've gone through it. So I tap from those situations, and I see like a boy and a girl, and the song has to be scored for them. I'll always write something that I really want to say.
That's why. Mic, I'm so lost. I have forgotten the mic. Because I'm listening to you. I love this.
Yeah. Because in
Yeah.
every situation there will be something that you would really want to say.
Like लाखों में एक में तेरा आपका दूसरा track है, which is what's it called? Fuck, I forgot what's it called. Can you just check the second track? It's दो गाना है. एक है with the vocals, another one is just like a background score. The existential crisis in this track.
Yeah, it was good fun. I led some like 8 or 9 guitars.
When I read What Am I on the title and I listened to this, I went through my head and I could actually go like, when you go into that zone, when I wake up in the morning, I do yoga. And I go into this zone sometimes where I'm like, kyun kar raha hai bhai? Like, can you pause for a second? Like you go into the zone of like, हाँ तू हसल कर रहा है, कंपनी डाल रहा है, पैसा कमा रहा है, भाग रहा है, दौड़ रहा है, क्या कर रहा है, like तू क्या क्यों कर रहा है? Like the why behind what you do is lost. A lot of times people have forgotten why they do what they do. This song is like that entire conversation in my head running, and it is beautiful.
Thank you.
It is so beautiful.
Thank you.
How true is this? Now, that is why I'm asking you the reality, that is what you speak. It has to translate. Because I believe if I were to connect to this on any level, it has to be true to the person who made it.
See, the thing is that with music, it's... Sorry, man. Direction is a harder situation.
No, I'm gonna get to this.
But music is more difficult.
But music, it has one major advantage, is that the guitar is on your body, and you're hearing the sound of it acoustically. You're making it, and you're getting instant gratification, and the gratification is giving you more power to carry on and take it to the next level. It's a cyclical reaction that starts. The wait period to finally see what's going to be coming out is stage 2, but there's a stage 1 that's happening, which is that the process itself is musical. So while you're playing it, I usually imagine things. So you can put yourself in, you can vicariously write. You've been through bad times in your school days. It's not always been.
Was this positive or negative? Was this experience derived from positive or negative? I'm very curious.
So firstly, I don't look at experiences in that a very, very flat way, because positive and negative is...
आप समझ रहे हो ना, like क्या बोल रहे हो?
What about melancholy? What does melancholy mean to you?
Melancholy is still negative. It's got a background black to it.
It is the absolute midpoint.
Melancholy, no.
Between positive.
You know what? This is where you like. If you were to represent.
Pleasurable.
This is the people, and this is the sad fucked up part. Like, how people talk about, I'm not able to get over somebody. I'm like, bullshit. You don't want to get over that person.
Yeah.
You have started to enjoy this fucking feeling of
they are
pain.
Having the time of their lives.
You are enjoying, but I'll tell you something,
Let them.
the background of that frame is still dark.
I mean,
would you represent melancholy? Like, if you had to give me a scene, give me a
evening,
scene.
It's raining, and you are in your house. You are drinking coffee. It's beautiful. Some great music.
Yeah.
Is melancholy. I mean, melancholy is what I feel. Melancholy is musing. Musing, maybe. What does melancholy let you do? It's a state of mind where you're perpetually. I mean, you're neither happy nor sad, but it's a state of thinking, which is a little long. Like it's almost like a plateau that you're there for a moment, and you are. Yeah. It's a transient phase, perhaps.
Plateau is
between
a nice
something.
Yeah.
So I feel that's where a lot of good thinking comes from. like I think melancholy लोगों को ना it's like a हसीन दर्द बोलते हैं like
But I hate it, man. I think people spend way too much time in that state. Like I've seen people waste, and again, this is मेरा hustle culture का कीड़ा. Like I'm like productivity and आगे बढ़ो and ये वो, and I don't want to give myself time. And this is what I hate about you artists, right? You
No, but
guys
I think that's
you
small.
guys allow yourself the time. I'm curious, do you allow yourself time to absorb emotions? Because do you have
Yeah,
to?
yeah.
Is it like a thing where you're like, oh shit, like अगर I'm assuming अगर musician को pain हुआ ना, like क्या मस्त music बनाएगा? Like is that something that you think of in the
That's
back
a
of your
reality,
head?
man. That's a reality. Like, if you go through a traumatic experience, or if you go through a breakup, or it's a real thing.
Like, do you think music immediately?
Musicians write from pain, and some musicians become pain whores because they chase pain so that they can write more.
Isn't that fucked up though?
It is like
Imagine being in a state
Some of the best
mind.
music you heard in your life has come from that. So you decide whether
but
it's
that
fucked
is
up or
also
not.
like I think
Imagine
music.
your life without those songs.
Baba, I'm telling you, I would get rid of certain songs from my life because I'll tell you, there are people who are indulging in music who, if just changing the music in their life, will change their outlook on life, and it's a real thing. This is something. If you can eradicate negative music from your life,
Yeah, but then the whole world would be swimming with elevator music. The whole giant world would feel like a ginormous elevator or a hotel lobby. Man,
bro, music has so much influence, man. Like I genuinely
Yeah, it
believe, like
does.
I understand pain, I understand like Sach Keh Raha Hai Dewana is still running. Like I'm telling you, मैं अभी भी गाता है. Like I fucking love it. But
this light is
Make-
not light if there isn't dark outside. Yeah. The only
लाखों में एक dialogue he has given.
the only reason you have a dark background behind your head is for the contrast of your glow to come through against the dark background. You're wearing black. Your mic is black. Your beard is black. Your frames are black. It's all contrast. Everything needs to be there for the whole picture to emerge.
ये हो गया म्यूजिक, ठीक है, इंस्पायर, गो बैक, ब्रो, अफसोस, आई एम स्कैर्ड टू लुक इनटू योर माइंड राइट नाउ. लाइक तुम समझ रहा है ना, लाइक इन द सेंस, इफ म्यूजिक इज द रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ मैं फील कर रहा है, मैं लिख रहा है, आई पुट माई सेल्फ इन दैट पोजिशन. He is basically, every time he writes music, he sees, like, that's what I'm assuming, right? Like what you spoke about, where like, okay, two people, okay, I'm putting that back to my experience, and I'm gonna write from my experience and whatever I feel, in the general format of things. How do you fucking write something like Afsoos then? By the way, you didn't write Afsoos. You directed Afsoos.
I know. I wrote Afsoos.
Oh,
Anubhuti,
fuck
we had
you,
directed.
bro. Like
I wrote with Anirban and Saurav, two of my other Bengali friends. Anirban Dasgupta, who's also
yeah, he's a comedian.
Yeah.
But bro, क्या हुआ? Are you okay? Like, like, how dark? Were you in a dark place, or were you writing it consciously as a dark theme?
I think idea was not to make it dark. Sorry, but the
But it
idea
was dark.
Yeah, I mean, I think it came from a point of view of fucking around more than anything, and not from a point of view of fucking around. But it's like, we used to often discuss this amongst our friends, especially Anirban, me, हम लोग कि जब भी हम लोग का दिन खराब जाता है ना, तो आप जल्दी सो जाते हो, like, to avoid the day. So just went, and we were just in. It was not romanticizing it, but just in a way that that how much more bad luck can you have?
Yeah, that's what he said.
So we just kept on, like, I think the germination was that a man who's not good at anything, how does he sustain life? Like, that was the course thought, which was also a little comedic because of the the tragic nature of life that it is.
And what a perfect actor you guys.
Man.
What a perfect actor you found.
he's
What a
so-
brilliant guy, bro.
It's just true. The first time I saw the first shot he
too good.
performed, like the day one on the first set, and we're starting to, like, the first shot, and the shot involves Gulshan getting up from the bed, and he's just going to wake up one of these mornings, like when he's just dejected, life has got nothing to be presented in front of him. So his waking up has also that sense of defeat, right? Like, it's like completely. And so we're looking into the monitor, and the shot starts, and he gets up, and then I'm sitting in front of the monitor next to Anubhuti, and I'm just like just watching, like, and so much we have, like, built up to Gulshan also in a way that first time I texted him that, hey man, I've written this, like, show you want to write. He's like, yeah, okay. maybe no. And then, he says maybe no. And then I keep like chasing him, and I've been writing to him for like 6-7 years, ever since this was supposed to be a Bengali film. I'd written to him, like just like a fanboy, Bangalore boy get his. So I used to like I really consider him India's or world's one of the finest actors. So, everything is just like, anyway.
Oh, you wrote it for him.
I mean, we wrote it keeping him him in mind.
Okay,
So,
okay.
so we had one draft, and then once we started adapting that draft, it was always Gulshan in our mind. So for us, it was like a 1-point agenda that first, now we have written it, now Gulshan. While Amazon, OML, all of that was happening parallelly from us, like from our writer, creator point of view, we just like going for these two things. And once we wrote, and we were writing to impress Gulshan more than anybody, so we wrote a few, like we wrote a sketch, then he read it. And then he's like, maybe let's see, send the draft, all of that. And he also kept us at, on the edge. And then we sent him the draft. And then he's like, who are you planning to get on board as a platform? And by then OML had cracked Amazon and stuff. So we were also like, okay, so he's like, okay, now ye bande log kuch. First thing he said was, either this is going to be very good or very bad. So, and then cut to when I'm seeing him get up from the bed in front, first day of shoot. And I see on this on the screen, and then I'm going back to see him in real life because I did not see any performance, like my idea of performance at that point. And then I realized, fuck, that was the performance, right? Like that, that I was like, okay, action hua, wo utha. But मेरे लिए मतलब I was even checking कि that was the take or now is he going to perform, but that was the take. So that's how deft he is. Like he's almost like clinical. Beautiful, man. Like it's
Can I ask you something? Are you one of those writers who write from like every point of view, or do you wing it on set?
No, I
Like
don't
how
never
much of
wing
the
on-
script to screen, how much of it is translated?
Well, you'd want all of it, but mostly तो नहीं होता है रे. अभी के हिसाब से तो I would say 60-70% is my success ratio. I may be a 63% or a 59 or maybe good days 71. ऐसा CGPA type का ही चल रहा है.
But it never translates fully.
For Afsoos, it did the most. Also because Anubhuti was directing it, we were creating it, we were writing it, but I was not directing it.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So I think for Afsoos, what Anubhuti did was very deftly, she handled the text and made it into much more mature text that it would be at that point of if I would have directed it, for sure to say.
Okay, tell me this. This entire journey, okay, तुम लिख रहा है, तुम आर्टिस्ट है, तुम पैसा बना रहा है, ये इंडस्ट्री है, इंडस्ट्री fuck all है, इसका nepotism आकिया अंको. I don't really, I'll tell you honestly though, I don't know what your perspective is. People shit on nepotism, but like bro, fuck man, it's a part of the game. अगर मैं धंधा बनाएगा, मेरे बाद मेरा बच्चा ही लेगा ना.
Correct.
And
Bro,
I understand the skepticism from the people from the industry. I don't really understand it from the space, but I think it's a part of the game. It's been there. You guys are from.
See, there's another angle to nepotism, man. Sometimes they say that culture, as it trickles down generations for many generations, the same kind of culture is trickling, which is a very fine place then, because then the kid that's born into that culture and is automatically going to get into that same line of thing is already on a very evolved level of thinking, and that's good for the arts. At the end of the day, it is good for any kind of thing to actually filter down and become a more fine version of itself. And that can happen through nepotism if the kids are not just like, if they're working hard. And there are some kids who work very hard, star kids.
No, but you know what? I'll tell you where I'm coming from. Okay,
Yeah.
So we have a theory. This is my theory. अगर मेरा बाप, my father, मिडिल क्लास बैकग्राउंड से जिंदगी जिया है, उसका जिंदगी बहुत गांड मारा है उसका. Like तुम कुछ भी कर लो, उसका मारा है तुम कुछ. That man has broken down more times than you can imagine. तो उसका इनबिल्ट फियर, उसके बाप का इनबिल्ट फियर, उसके फैमिली का इनबिल्ट फियर is now passed down to you. A person coming from a space where they've already, like अगर मेरा बाप is well off, he doesn't have as much stress. तो जिंदगी का बाई प्रोडक्ट है, उसका छोड़ो, एंग्जाइटी जिंदगी का बाई प्रोडक्ट है, but the basic constraints of life are not there. The kid born in this situation is a lot more fearless in terms of it is.
They have a completely different set of fears. I would say they'll be way more afraid than a middle class kid, because
Really?
a middle class kid would be free.
How so?
I mean,
I-
like a star kid will have appearances to keep. A star kid will have maybe even like saying that, okay, your first appearance has to be at such and such age. You have to avoid this thing, camera people. If you go to Joggers Park, you'll have to go with a couple of security guards. or something like that. It's not easy.
No, I'm not
For
saying
kids.
it's easy. I'm saying
Like it's
the mindset makes a difference.
yeah, and that fear mindset is getting trickled.
It's
passed on
harder
into
to
past
come out of
situations
the.
also.
It is harder to come out of because, like, I'm assuming you're from
In
a.
a different way. Yeah.
It's a very different journey, right? To come from there to say I'm going to do arts. You're from Calcutta. Are you from a arts family? Like
No,
from a
I'm
family?
not. I'm first
generation,
Yeah,
and-
in my
I'm third generation technically.
Oh, so you have fairly given like
Yeah,
it wasn't
but
a.
by the time I was growing up, my father had already quit the film industry. His father's business was
that's-
distribution, Bengali in Calcutta.
Okay.
Bengali film production and distribution. But by the time I was growing up, I was being asked to be an engineer. And my dad had already wrapped up business in that field. He's like, bhai, idhar kuch karne
Is
ka
it
nahi hai."
harder that conversation to say I'm going back in the field?
I'm going, well, not really. I mean, they always let me do my thing. So one day I was studying in Bangalore only. I called my mom and I was like, "Aur nahi jam raha hai. I'm thinking of coming back." She's like, "Aaja." It was a very easy
Bro.
conversation.
Oh,
actually.
that's hard, man. A lot of people don't get that privilege.
Yeah.
A lot of people, the conversation is harder क्योंकि like bro, like where do I go? Like even if I say I quit, बाप घर से बाहर फेंक देगा.
Start करना ही है.
Start karna
Conversation.
itself is a
It's
problem, like a lot. Like I
jump in.
remember this guy, this elderly was very funny. So when he's still in college, so he does college in the daytime. He comes here, works in the night. He stays here. His house. तो इसका घर पे गया. Is like मेरे को साथ भाई के साथ काम करने गया. घर वाला बवाल. Like पूरा घर पे बवाल. ये घर पे लड़के इधर आता है. ठीक है, ये आता है और मेरे को बोलता है, साथ में करेगा. फिर आंख में आंसू. Full like heavy, bro. I love this guy. But that, I'll tell you, that moment when you have to break free, and we all have to break free. There are moments in our lives we have to break free from our nests. And वो बहुत critical होता है because you go from. अपना इंडिया में सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम क्या है? 25 साल तक अपना माँ बाप अपने लिए सब डिसाइड कर रहा है कि आप कपड़ा पहनने गए, किधर खाने गए, क्या खाने गए, कौन सा स्कूल जाने गए.
up and out before that.
हाँ, you are an exception. You are an exception. I'm not sure about you. I'm assuming you're also an exception because बाप माँ बोल दिया आजा, कोई नहीं, stress नहीं.
I've been figuring my own thing since I was like, in my college days, like making my part money. So I've never really depended on my family also. Like
But-
that for my daily, like monthly
हाँ.
पैसा कि कर लेगा बेटा, पता है उनको कि अपना तो निकाल लेगा.
But most people don't, right? Most people live.
Everyone does some side hustle, man. I used to paint T-shirts and sell them for pocket money.
This is another problem. So you live in an echo chamber. You know what this echo chamber means? You are surrounded with people alike from you. So you assume the rest of the world is like you,
You're right.
right? So it is not true.
It's not.
And again, अपना privilege अपने को दिखता नहीं है ना.
बिल्कुल
अपना
सही
बॉम्बे, अब हम लोग बॉम्बे के बैंड्रा में रहते हैं और लोखंड वाला नहीं, बॉम्बे के बैंड्रा में रहते हैं. हमारा प्रिविलेज प्लस
11 बजे पॉडकास्ट रिकॉर्ड
11 बजे पॉडकास्ट रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं. हमारे प्रिविलेज के ऊपर प्रिविलेज वी हैव, एंड दिस इज सो स्पेसिफिक टू बॉम्बे बिकॉज इट्स रिडिकुलस. आई मीट पीपल हियर हु हैव 200,000 फॉलोअर्स, 300,000. दे लाइक नो. I'm like, why? Because you're comparing yourself to 1 million followers, 2 million. भाई ये डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन तुम जानते नहीं हो क्या बवाल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है. People constantly, and here this is so specific to Bombay where extremely amazing people don't realize how amazing they are. It's like you guys need to be reminded. I feel like you guys should go back to your.
I will to
hometowns.
call you daily now.
You guys need to, no, it's a legit thing. It's a legit thing. Is it a? The mind is like the body. Because अगर तुम बॉडी को ऐसा फेंक देगा ना साइड में, मर जाएगा. I realized this क्योंकि मैं मर रहा था. I was 136 kilos by the way, much bigger. Till you work out, you will start losing weight. The moment you stop working out, you will start gaining weight. तुम्हारा माइंड भी वैसा ही है. जब तक तुम उसको घास देगा ना, वो बढ़ता रहेगा. घास निकाल दिया, तुम मर जाएगा. Your lateral, I'm going to call it the lateral mindset. It's an entire thing which people have never learned about. That comes from such a beautiful space of, hey, two things. And I'm assuming, and can be completely wrong. Hey, I'm not fighting you or you or you or you. I am on my own journey. My demon is from yesterday. My gift is from tomorrow. I'm okay. I'm going to take it at my own pace. It also comes from from a place of not having a lot of insecurities. which is incredible, and I see that. And I want to know, because इंसान ऐसा नहीं होता है, ये या फिर बहुत कट के इधर पहुंचता है या फिर कोई सिखाता है.
नहीं, I'll tell you what happened. अपने साथ at least.
बोलो.
Like my dad was bent on making my brother into a pilot because my dad was an engineer and he wanted at least one of his kids to get into something technical and engineering like. And my brother had expressed an interest in being a pilot, but then the dollar crashed in the middle of the 80s and we couldn't afford it. We were middle class and that dream crashed. And then he did some MBA and all that. So by the time it came to me, who was 6 years younger, I think he's like had hung up his like aggressive parenting boots. So he just chilled out on me and he's like, okay, you just do your thing. And like, you know, I did my college, I got my BCom honors. I was always playing in a band on the side. And he thought, okay, fine. You know, like now there are kids who are doing like so much shit. He could be into drugs. He could be like getting drunk all the time. He's going and playing music. At least it keeps him busy. So, you know, at least we feel safe. Whatever. I don't know what his reasoning was, but he didn't interfere much. My parents didn't interfere much in what I wanted to do. And soon enough, at a point of time when the house was small, my brother got married, I was ousted from the bedroom and I was sleeping in the drawing room. I did 2 years of that and then I moved out. And I moved out to a place which was sublet from a government, residency place. And the bathroom was Indian. So first 3 years, that was where I started. Our rent was, I think, $2,000, 2.5 grand. Yeah, and we didn't know. I didn't know where that money would come from, but I definitely wasn't going to ask my.
How old were you?
23, 24. Yeah.
You were with someone at that time?
No, alone. And I was living in with another musician who I was playing in the band, and the keyboard player and me. We said that let's get a place together, and we got a place together. And he was like, you know, programming, and now he's become a big music composer, Raja Narayan Dev, you know. So him and me, we were like living together. Like
बहुत
I learned
तुम
a lot
लोग
from
का
him.
मोटिवेशन किधर से आता है? बिकॉज आर्टिस्ट गरीब है. आई फाउंड आउट आफ्टर कमिंग टू बॉम्बे, आर्टिस्ट गरीब है.
Correct. Very good. Correct.
I am not an insulting way. You guys are kind of in a way. You guys have still made it far greater than most people can even imagine. तुम हाँ ठीक है, मैं क्या ही कर लिया एक नेटफ्लिक्स का मूवी. तुम shut the fuck up. ठीक है. You don't realize who you are. You don't realize who you are. A lot of kids watching this, the kid listening to you very intently, who has come from a very far away place, doesn't come to all the podcasts because he wants to come into your space. This is a dream. Where you are is a dream. What do you tell these kids? Like, डायरेक्टर बनने का है, राइटर बनने का है, म्यूजिशियन बनने का है. फर्स्ट यू, देन यू, बिकॉज आई नो दिस इज गोइंग टू टेक अ लॉट मोर टाइम. आई वांट यू टू गो.
I think
Where do you start?
overall feeling is बहुत great feeling है. Like it's just that you're doing your like, you know, मैं तो for me बचपन से मैं romanticize करता था. Like I remember.
How do you make money here?
Money is just by getting good at your the thing that you like to do. There's only one way, I feel, which is just like, you know, if you like to do something, then do it well, do it great, do it best, and then excel at it. It's
But aren't there many other people that are doing it with you? There isn't there competition and there one
competition
place.
you can't think about, right? Competition is everywhere. Living is also competition. तुम अगर 10 एक छोटा सा जगह पे 10 people, if you live food for 6 people and 10 people are just living, they'll fight. But
So that competition I have a viewpoint about, and it's called sideways.
The lateral mindset, bro. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, no. The idea is like you have to go back to the oldest meaning of being an artist, which is that you do art. And you keep every day doing that and you bring it out. The second part about being an artist is taking that art to the marketplace in the olden days, or taking it to a lord's place to show him the paintings, or getting a lord or an art buyer into your house or something. There was some hustle. Hustle is very important. So you do the art, you do the hustle. You do the art, you do the hustle. There's no shame in any of them. There's no shame in any of it. You just go full on and do that and it will work out. Money will start happening. After a while, what happens is there's the internet now, right? So the thing is that whatever you've done is there. After a while, people will see, oh, shoot, this ne kitna kiya bro? And if you're doing every day, what you're doing is bound to get better. There's no fucking way it won't get better. So just do. And yeah, I mean, that's the only thing.
You just can't stop. Like there is no.
There is a sense of to wo to ek hai. That's the thrill, I think.
So this becomes your religion. And
It's just who you are. I think I can't dissociate myself being who I am and then how I like what I do. Like, it's just there is no dissociation in my mind. Like, even if I'm trying to classify it to explain, because it's somehow like, wo part second skin. जिसको आप बोलोगे.
At any point did you ever think, fuck this, I'm out?
Never.
Not even
बहुत,
for
and
a
I'm
sec.
telling you, बहुत खराब time गया है.
Never.
चलता रहता है like, but
Like दिमाग में
No,
कभी नहीं आया,
never.
like भाई हो गया बस, like नहीं करने
never.
का.
Because it was easy for me. I was not good at anything.
Oh man, like okay, the best scene that you've ever created. Tell me, walk me through that scene. Written, directed, doesn't matter. Best scene that you're most proud of. It doesn't matter if it worked, it blew up, not blew up.
Yeah.
One of your best work.
so then it has to be the opening scene of Afsoos. If you remember.
Just walk me through it like you
You mean
pitched, like
from the writing of it or from the
whatever.
the scene
Your-
description?
whatever.
So it was a story of a loser, that a man who had been such a failure in life that he decides to commit suicide. But he's such a failure in life that he's unable to do that as well. That his precision lacks every time and he's not getting killed. So I wanted to start the story where this man has already attempted enough times to begin it from the point of view that here is his another attempt. And here he goes and he lies down on the tracks, a very foolproof way to kill yourself, and a pretty strong vehicle coming at you at very high speed, and the train just goes past. And here you are, you're lying, but then the train has not come yet. So this man is now waiting. And now he's starting to get a little bored, and the cold steel rails are starting to bother him a little. And he looks around and he needs some support till the train comes, right? It's uncomfortable. So he needs some cushion. And he sees this one tiny worn out pillow that he picks up, and he brings it back and he now lies. And now he feels a little better. And then slowly the train is coming into the station, and now he's beginning to feel the thrill again. Maybe he'll die now. End of all his miseries. That's the state. And when suddenly the man that he has taken the pillow from fucks around with him, like, you die, bro, but give me my pillow. So yeah, so then they get into a scuffle, and then there is a chase, and something happens, and then eventually the beggar dies, but the man who was out there to kill himself is still alive. So yeah, this was the opening scene of Afsoos, and this scene remained unchanged from the very beginning. So perhaps the first scene that I ever wrote for Afsoos, which was supposed to be a Bengali film called Bullet Love. Okay, which was called Bullet Love. So this was like almost all the scenes changed, but this one remained unchanged, for the longest. And so I have a photo of myself, because I wrote this scene for this was with me for 6 years or so till it got finally filmed, 5 years or so. So
Remind me to take that photo.
yeah, I have a photo of me lying down on that rail for the camera, and we were shooting in a real station. We had blocked one side of it, hopefully. But, so I wanted to take that photo because I was going to be the stand-in for that shot. I was like, to feel that. So that was pretty, I think, one of the most writing-wise, to answer your question. Yeah.
Music, best part. And I want to hear that also. So tell me, where can I find it? I want to hear it. Even if it's for like a 10-second, 20-second beat, a riff, anything that you're most proud of.
I'm not most proud of any of them because
I
I'm
assume
proud
that.
of most
I'm
of
sure,
a
I'm sure.
lot of them.
I'm sure.
And there's like not one that supersedes the other because they're all different. So yeah, I'm very against this whole scalar system of better and worse.
100%.
Yes.
But still, we are still going to find one piece.
Figure out of this, but I don't know. I think the kill maybe or what, or is it actually? Yeah. I mean, when Gulshan finally has given the order to get himself assassinated and killed, he feels free. There's a certain degree of freedom that the pressure lifts, and he feels that okay, it's done now. Now I can enjoy my time on this planet, and there's this song that happens.
What's it called?
It's called Afsoos.
Oh, that was okay. Find that track. We're going to play that at the end. Last questions. This is important, and this is important because the reason why we do this, the reason why we sit down like pretentious fucks telling about our lives, like 500 people are going to listen to it. In that, there's probably a kid listening to this who looks at you and says, fuck, he reminds me of who I am, and maybe one day I can be him. Think of yourself in that position. You're a 20, 18, 17-year-old kid starting out. You know everything that you know, and you can only tell him one thing. Just do that one thing. Or a message to him. What is that?
Just listen to your gut. Whichever the decision that you ask yourself and get a little scared, but you want to go for that also, but you do not know if you should go for it, go for that. I've seen every time I've gone for that scary but exciting option or choice, every time I've gone for it, something has it's come back. And every time I've not, I'm like, fuck, करना चाहिए था.
So डर से मत करो.
जो मन में जिस चीज से डर आए, but अच्छा वाला डर, a good, अफसोस में एक लाइन आए कि डर भी लग रहा है लेकिन मजा भी आ रहा है. So which is, I think, a very great feeling. It's like that excitement that makes you feel alive. That is great, I think. Don't lose out on that call.
What?
I
was thinking about that, bro. What is it? What's going on?
A message to yourself.
Oh,
the kid who's watching.
Oh, correct. Yes. Listen, man.
Zoom the fuck in. Okay, let's go.
So don't get paralyzed on the couch. It's a danger that my life did not afford me. So I'm lucky that way. But I'm just saying, don't get paralyzed on the couch. Do something.
What if you work on the couch? Then what is the
No, I mean, that's not paralysis, so that's okay. If you're working on the couch, you're still
Okay.
there. You know what I'm saying, right?
I know what you're saying. But before it ends, before we go into the next part and play the music, which I want to hear it. Oh, you wanna ask something? Go for it, bro. Oh, you've prepared this shit. You have time. You have shoot.
So, my very first question is what makes you to stop? What stops you to make that the Bollywood wala commercial movie? You're making that जैसे Indoresh जैसा movie thriller kind of genre. What stops you to make that kind of movies? The commercials kind of.
Why aren't you making commercial flicks, basically like your masala movies?
Hey, you can do that.
Because I'm not getting it. Nobody has offered me commercial film.
That
If they
shit
say,
is-
I'm going to say yes. Please, if you see anybody looking for a director for a commercial film, give my shoril.
No, but after watching your work, obviously the kind of movies you will get
Are also not commercial.
are not commercial.
A big problem.
That's a good question, though. Is that a crippling thing? If you do this, you're not going to get the other work. Is that something that you have to think about?
Not really. I mean, I remember Anirban, this one friend, he was saying that freelancers say no to jobs only to brag about it to other freelancers, right? So I don't see any other merit out of, doing I am, we were discussing, all work is great. Every work is exciting. It's just that कि आपके पास कौन सा inquiry आया? I feel the most excited when I see an unknown number flashing on a phone and I return those calls maybe. And they're like, नहीं sir, Axis Bank से phone कर रहा था. So my point is that कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि मैं I've already sold my soul to the devil. So there is no point of feeling bad or having a Puritan mindset कि ओ ये अच्छा है वो नहीं है. जो भी अच्छा लगे अच्छा मतलब मिल जाए अगर if somebody says we like your work and we want to work with you, that's great enough. I feel. कोई भी काम commercial हो, art school हो. So I do direct documentaries also, music videos also, TV shows also, and then I also get to write which is writing is something that is perhaps more sacrosanct to me, that I don't write advertising or any other stuff, but the things that I want to make as feature. Maybe those are a little dark and not commercial. तो वैसे टाइप का, बट वो तो आपको जो मजा आएगा वही लिखोगे ना, what gets you off, what gets you on rather. So from that point, I feel is writing is more. When it comes to direction, which is a more on the job training, it's the more number of days you spend on a set, the better you become as a director, I feel. because then you have the most varied experience, more situations to adapt, and every scene, every character, every scenario is different, and it's a learning experience as a director. So direction wise, I think the more number of days I can give to the set is the best. Writing wise, of course, it takes a long time to make something. Director can even do 100 days of set time on in a year. But for a writer, it's a more longer process. You like to write it. So then you do not have the bandwidth to write a lot of things parallelly. So you have to choose your best, your most favorite out of all of it to kind of write. So then you go for, आदमी मरना चाह रहा है.
No, yeah, but then I think people underestimate masala movies. It's very easy to shit on masala movies, but there's a reason why India watches masala fucking masi
And
movies.
it takes craft, it takes skill set to
Bro,
make it.
it's not easy to make
difficult.
people forget the shitty life that they've been having for the like पूरा masses of India गरीब है. गरीब इंडिया को तुम इंसेप्शन थोड़ी दिखाएगा. गरीब इंडिया को नहीं देखने है. गरीब इंडिया को देखने है क्या है? I want to watch something that I can forget the last 8 hours of my fucking day. That is why masala works. That is why masi shit works. People forget.
Switzerland
this.
also worked like that. So it's proper that it's great, right? Imagine you buy a ticket for 50 rupees. That's what like they talk in the mainstream. Like when people go to watch a movie, say 50 rupees ticket, you go to Gateway, you watch the movie at night time, the whole day, maybe you've been riding a rickshaw and you've fucked in your head, and you go watch that movie and you see everything in that 50 rupees. You see a different country, you see gorgeous clothes, you see great people, great performances, large score, and you come out of it feeling an experience, which is pretty much I cannot take that away from you.
Have you seen the movie Dead Poet Society?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Dead Poet Society talks where he has this monologue where he talks about art and the importance of art, and where he walks people through what would life be without art, right? And that changed so much for me in the because अपना धंधा वाला है, ठीक है? अपना क्या है, गवर्नमेंट के लिए कॉन्ट्रैक्टर है, ये बनाएगा वो बनाएगा. I'm like क्या अपना क्या आर्टिस्ट, तुम लोग आर्टिस्ट है. But then when we started building products, have you seen the dustbins that we make?
You showed me the photos.
Yes.
Oh man, they are piece of art.
Oh yeah,
हाँ,
that's
तो
great. Yeah.
like for example, I was thinking when we were making, अपना designer लोग बना रहा है, ठीक है? And I'm realizing you can't, just because you design something so well doesn't mean it belongs there. I need to keep in mind कि ये कचरे का डब्बा किधर लगेगा. It can't fall out of place. It needs to sink into the environment, not look like, because at the end of the day, it has to be a part of the environment and not stick out.
But the better part of your job is
Sound like background score only.
no, but what's funny is that your piece of what you have made is more often than not the better art of that whole area. So
No, but it still has to not stick out.
Yeah, true. But you have a difficult ulta problem.
Bro, people are like, bro, you could have designed this way, make it more futuristic. I'm like, nahi. तुम भूल रहा है, ये रास्ता कौन से रास्ते पे लगेगा? ये अपना रास्ते, like you go to Goa, you will see the dustbin and you will forget that it's a dustbin because it fits into that. And I realized that is because of a certain very, very minimal understanding of what I have about art, design. And that's like when I talk to these guys, we learn business development. Okay, like I'm teaching these guys Excel, I'm like presentations, ye apna business ka so much importance, and people keep forgetting. I keep talking to them about design discipline. Okay, that is no matter what, if you are even sending it to me, it is just between me and you. It has to have design thinking. And I realized क्योंकि like हम ना एक simple business deck बनाते हैं, people like presentations में भर देता है, like language भर देता है. I'm like language सब निकालो, illustrations डालो, क्योंकि जो पढ़ रहा है वो पढ़ नहीं रहा है, वो देख रहा है. And all of this is because you guys have decided to show us a part of the world that we haven't imagined or we haven't seen. The music that you create, the art that you build, everything that you guys do. And I want you to remember this because I know a lot of people don't say this.
Therapy, man.
No.
I'll listen
I'm
to your
not saying
other,
this like on a
podcast.
genuine note though. You guys allow us, and trust me when I say you guys, I'm not saying general you guys. I'm talking about little things. I'm talking about Laakhon which made me cry. I know the music. I know how important that music was in that last scene for me to make me feel the way it made me feel. You don't remember. It's okay. I remember. I know what Afsoos is. I know to bring that, because there is theek hai, comedy hai, dark hai, but there is so much subliminal messaging about why, how, like giving up. What does actually giving up mean? What does actual failing mean? What is, like, you're rooting for the guy. It's weird. You guys do that. You guys are incredible. You guys are incredible because you allow us to come out of a 2x2 box feeling a little different, a little better, a little happier, a little excited about our own lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. You're therapy, bro.